Welcome to Living MaxJoy, the podcast helping families turn up the joy in everyday life. Presented by Nemours Children's Health in partnership with ESF Camps and Experiences.
Welcome to Living MaxJoy. Today's segment is on resiliency, and we have an incredible guest speaker with us who's considered the GOAT, a great Duke lacrosse player, former professional athlete, and former ESF camper, Jordan Wolf. Welcome.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
I just want to talk about your background. It's pretty impressive. First of all, I've known you since you were a young boy, and you've been phenomenal from the years as a youngster all the way to as an adult, as a parent, and as a businessman. So, but I just want to, for our audience, I want them to know. So he is one of the most accomplished players in the history of Duke's men's lacrosse. He was an attackman. He grew up in Wynwood, Pennsylvania, attended Lower Merion High School before starring at Duke University. Some of his highlights were he was a 4-time All-American at Duke, 2-time NCAA national champion in 2013, 2014. In 2014, Jordan was considered the NCAA's tournament most outstanding player. He was also Offensive Player of the Year. First player in Duke history to record more than 100 points in a season. In that particular year, he had 103 points. He finished his Duke career with 184 goals, 120 assists, and 304 points, ranking among the best scorers in NCAA lacrosse history. And he was the second overall pick in the 2014 Major League Lacrosse Draft. After Duke, Jordan went on to play professionally for 8 years in both the Major League Lacrosse and Premier Lacrosse leagues, and also competed in the U.S. national team. Pretty impressive. He's now in the world of finance and currently works at Cerity Partners, where he's doing an amazing job there. And so welcome, Jordan.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Real impressive. Nice. I mean, that never gets old, hearing that.
No, it feels like a long time ago, but that doesn't get old.
So, I'd love to go back to when you were a youngster. When you think back at your years as an ESF camper, what was the very first memory that comes to mind?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I went to ESF for many years, and 2 brothers also went, all 3 of us. But I still remember the fields we play on, like how tired I was after. I remember like the smell of the lunches, and just like the pure joy, zero pressure environment being a kid playing sports the kids you grew up with you can't beat that. So amazing, positive experiences.
I looked up you and your brothers. You went for 10 years, so you guys are considered legends. That's what the ESF tradition. If you go for 10 years, you get the Legends jacket. So you probably have somewhere in your closet the Legends jacket. But what made you come back year after year?
Yeah, I just think for me as a very active kid, like in the summertime, all I want to do is run around and play sports. So doing it in an environment where you play different sports and organize, and not just with your family, but people you grew up with, kids you went to high school with, kids you play club sports with, whatever it may be. It just looking back, it's hard to replicate that. And for me, that was the best use of my time in the summer growing up.
So looking back as an adult, are there lessons you learned at camp that you didn't fully appreciate until later in life?
Yeah, I think like I'm extremely competitive. I've always been, but I think even at a young age, being able to be in an environment where you can have competitive outlets. Like I still remember like winning things at ESF and the competitions and the soccer and the basketball, but being able to do it in a way where you could play all different types. Like I still remember what that was like, and maybe certain days not feeling as energetic as others, but still getting a competitive itch. I think it was really fostered, honestly, back then.
But I was super impressed. First of all, I knew you as a kid, you and your brothers, and I knew your mom, and I met your dad several times. And I loved the fact that the 3 Wolf brothers would always come to camp, just pumped up, ready for action. I mean, you guys were joyful, you were happy, you were positive. You definitely were competitive, but you also brought all the other campers with you. Like you guys were motivating to others. And I saw that quality in all 3 of you guys. Where'd you get that growing up at home?
I mean, we're all different. Like I was extremely competitive early on. My younger brother had a really good lacrosse career at Amherst. He was 2-time Player of the Year, first All-American. It took him till high school to really have that that gene. And then my older brother was a big hockey player, played at Penn State. Like, he was on a different level than I was competitive wise. But I think growing up with 3 boys in a household who all love sports, it's just that comes with the territory. And but we all got there in different timelines, which I think is important to mention.
And you guys were all multi-sport athletes. I mean, I saw it at ESF, but you went on to play multiple sports all through high school. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's things are getting so specialized now. Like, some of my best athletic memories, despite all the success I've had in lacrosse, were like high school hockey on my older brother's line, or, you know, preseason Lower Merion soccer. Like, you do look back on those memories, and I think it develops you athletically, no doubt. Like, high school preseason soccer for me, like the running endurance part was prepared me so much for like my first fall at Duke, with, you know, the regimen you have to get on. But I also think that you look forward to different seasons, like the same way with weather. You look forward to, you know, the next challenge. So I think it develops you athletically, mentally. It's just good to have something different. And you play college sports 9 months a year. It's a job, and you look back and be like, I miss playing ice hockey. I miss soccer, and it's some of the best memories you can have.
We have different traditions at ESF in the sports camp. It's, you know, captain's award. We got the coach's award. We got the hustle award. Various, you know, kind of achievements that you have to earn. And what did that do for you at camp? And did that help you or confidence in some way?
Yeah, I think it just bothered me if I wasn't winning them, which is immature at the time, but a good thing, I think, as you're trying to aspire to achieve certain goals. But that's the beauty of sports. There's like winners and losers, and it's very fair. It's the most black and white thing in my estimation. So, you know, I think it's good at a young age to like have things you're working towards.
Yeah. Yeah. And the good news is that you have to earn it, and you guys definitely did, but it was great to see those times when you didn't win it. Like, you were reflecting on, okay, why did I win it? And what do I need to do to win that next time, which was great to see. So, you know, at what point did you realize you had potential to play lacrosse at the highest level?
Yeah, it was late for me. Like, my dad was a college tennis player, but my parents never pushed me. They didn't have to. I pushed myself in a way. I think I got to around 9th grade, maybe even like after my 9th grade lacrosse season at Lower Merion, where more people were telling my parents that I had a future in this, and maybe myself. Like, I don't think we ever really thought how far this could go. And, you know, my main sport growing up was ice hockey. So from like 9 years old till middle school. And then I got really into club soccer. I was like, I can go this route, and was pulled in a lot of directions to do that. And that lacrosse was kind of like the third, honestly, like something to do in the spring.
Amazing. And when did you start to feel like lacrosse was now taking over?
I think after my 9th grade year. Like, I was a, you know, good middle school player. I had a really good high school year at Lower Merion, which is, you know, I was a starting varsity, leading the team in points as a freshman. It doesn't happen at other schools. It's kind of like a later program, even though it was an amazing experience for me. But I think after that, it started to click that I had a future in this, and I was putting more eggs in that basket.
That's awesome. In terms of, you know, many young athletes we see, they're dreaming big. What separated those who dreamed from those who actually achieved in people that you grew up with?
Yeah, it's all work ethic. And it's making the right choices. It's surrounding yourself by the right people. But again, with sports, you get out everything you put in. Like, there's just no shortcuts around that. And you could be unbelievably naturally gifted. We've seen a million of these stories, or if you grow faster than others, but eventually it does catch up. So I think being able to recognize your weak areas and really working hard constantly, you know, being so unbelievably self-accountable was the separating thing for me. And I've seen it in every sport I play with certain players.
Did you have daily goals or overall routines that, you know, helped you achieve what you did?
Not as much at high school, which was honestly a fault. Like, I don't think I knew, as competitive as I was, and I guess it got me to a level where, you know, I could earn a scholarship to play at Duke, but I certainly wasn't prepared. Like, I didn't know what hard work really was, like from a diligence, from a repetition standpoint, like the amount of hours. You might think you're working hard, but the amount of hours it takes. So I really didn't, and obviously going from sport to sport in high school, which was the best thing for me, I didn't really start developing those habits till college to see what other people like older than me, like what really hard work was. I I think with me, it was half competitiveness, half insecurity that people were going to pass me. And on other teams in the country, older guys, where I just always had something, like I have to get up and go work out, or I have to, we're off on a Sunday, like I have to go shoot. Like it was like somebody in my head that drove me to that, which I think was a combination of those two. But it took me to college really to like truly develop that self-driving work ethic.
I think though, playing the multiple sports probably helped you a lot because you were developing in so many different ways. And when many of your peers were probably playing the one sport during high school versus the multi-sport like you, and so you probably peaked at the right time is what I'm saying, correct?
I think people burn out. Like there's so much club stuff now. There's so many different things. I think sometimes people have, maybe for lacrosse, have the goal to be a big time Division I player. You get your scholarship, you commit, and then people take the foot off the gas. And I think there's definitely burnout, where for me was lacrosse was a main sport towards the end, but I still was obsessed with ice hockey, obsessed with soccer.
Yeah.
So like I never was like burnt out going into college because I had all these other areas that I was passionate about.
Yeah.
Which was like really helpful for me.
I think we're seeing this right now in Europe where you're getting, you're seeing elite professional athletes in the tennis world, in the soccer world, even in basketball where they're playing multiple sports all through high school. It's not happening here in the States.
Yeah. I mean, I think like it's trying to in the States, but like my parents were, if I went certain routes in hockey or soccer, it would have been my only sport when it was presented to me.
Yeah. And
I think at the time, I didn't even know what decision to make, but I think my parents were really smart around like, but he loves this, so there has to be a way to do all of it.
Yeah.
But it's certainly very specialized. I just couldn't imagine, you're a European soccer player, like the pressure you put on yourself, having everything in this with no other outlets. What if you get hurt for 6 months and, then you're starting to think these different thoughts. I mean, it must be just really challenging. I think having the different outlets both develop athletically, but also mentally was great for me. And I think it is for kids today.
You give some advice to like a 13-year-old athlete who's really interested in excelling in a sport. What kind of advice would you give him?
Yeah, I think the great advice I got is you're always getting better, you're getting worse. Like it's very rare people plateau, I think. And it's happening to everyone. So if you really want to excel, you have to put a lot into it. But I also think, especially early on, like there shouldn't be any pressure from you, your family, coaches. Like you should be doing things because you enjoy it and you want to get better. I think if you look at sports in that light, it's really easy to want to work really hard at it. If it becomes a burden on you or you're not enjoying it as much, like in anything in life, it's going to be really hard to work towards.
I think you've said it to me before, and I totally agree because that's how it was for me. Like your sports were your sports. It wasn't your parents' sports.
Yeah, I got lucky with that.
Talk more about that.
As I coach youth lacrosse in the area, I'm just looking back so thankful I didn't have parents who needed to push me at all. They really didn't have to. I did it enough on my own, but having them not be vocal on the sideline or just being supportive, like after a bad performance or game, like I never heard from them. I think they were like, they were trying to pull me back more so, but you've seen the opposite about people living through their kids and even big time athletes, people who've experienced, really big highs still do that. I've seen both sides, but I certainly as a parent will be what my kid is for their own reasons. It's their life. But it can be such a challenging thing for a kid to navigate. And you see it to this day to the nth degree. I just hope that stops.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
I think there's some things coming down the pike. Like there's an act that maybe put in front of Congress in the next 30 days about, it's called the Let Them Play Act. And I think, I think that could really help youth development right now, because I think it's kind of a race to nowhere that we're seeing out there, you and I, and many families that are trying to figure this thing out.
Totally.
I think the multi-sport athlete is quickly minimizing when it should be celebrated. So
yeah, totally. I'd say one more thing too. Like for example, like Duke, and they're recruiting, like they want guys to play football. Like they want guys to play hockey because they think that if a kid can play big time high school football, the practices, the challenges they go through, like that's really valuable to them, which they think will translate into lacrosse, instead of a kid who's playing lacrosse 9 months a year and training all fall, which is great too, but they put a lot of stock into that. Like they'll go recruit kids' football games. Like it's important for them for so many reasons, but that's like a tangible thing they look for.
There's not a D1 head coach that I don't know that doesn't feel like a multi-sport athlete is someone that don't want.
Totally.
I mean, they are never looking for that kid who's specialized. They're looking for that kid who's got the full spectrum of an understanding of the biomechanics of different sports, and they love them when they're still playing multi-sports in high school.
100%.
Which is amazing. So one of the themes at ESF is that is that talent develops in quiet places. Character is built in the storm. What storm helped shape your character?
Yeah, I didn't have one defining thing I had to overcome, candidly. I think I always had a chip on my shoulder that was probably manufactured by myself, either being smaller or, I didn't really hit my growth spurt till junior year in high school, where I was like talking to big time schools, and I didn't come from a big sports family maybe, or I didn't, Lower Merion's got great athletics, but it's like the lacrosse team's not like the private schools around here. So I think I always had a chip on my shoulder. Nothing was one big defining thing, but I think it was just anytime someone was said to be better than me, even if it was, or just people made a lot of publicity about, like that was something that I always like strove to show people. So it was very self-manufactured, quite candidly.
Did you ever have any setbacks that really, that you were dealing with, which was one of your greatest learning moments?
Yeah, I partially tore my ham. So I graduated in 2014, was working in New York full time, and then playing pro lacrosse on the weekends. And 2 years in, I tore my hamstring, partially tore it. Need to get replacement, need to get surgery, the whole thing. And my goal out of college was to make the world team in 2018. Like that was my goal. So I had basically a year to get myself back and prove to myself that I could do it while working a full-time job in New York City, which is not an easy place to develop athletically. I looked at it as a challenge, but there was definitely some dark times where it's like the timing could not have been worse it could have been worse, closer to it, but I had I didn't have a lot of room for error for my rehab to get myself in a position to make this team. And that was my goal to 2014. So,
and you made it?
I made it, thankfully. And it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, but it was daunting after that. And especially, limited resources, limited things within New York City. There's still a lot of challenges that came with it.
Yeah.
But was able to do it.
That's awesome. How do elite performers stay positive during those difficult moments? And what have sports really taught you about failure?
Yeah, I mean, it's a part of it. Like you're going to lose in a lot of areas. I think it's really important to surround yourself with great people. Like I have a great support system, my parents, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, friends around me, coaches. I think like really leaning on that, staying off your phones, like celebrating little wins. That was super important for me. But as I said earlier, like sports there's no faking it. You can't pay your way through. It's very black and white. So there's going to be failures in it. It's all about how you respond, what you learn from it. And as cliche as it is, the sports, the parallels with that in life and what you do work-wise, family-wise, it's completely correlated in my opinion, and it's prepared me well.
What's the difference between confidence and arrogance in your eyes?
It's a great question. I think confidence comes from the work you put in, the preparation, right? You can be quietly confident. I think that separates you from arrogance in a certain way. Confidence is like one of the most important things in anything you do, but being confident without putting the right amount of work in or being the loudest one, I think that's when you falter or fold in the areas of arrogance. That's that's an area you really want to balance, because I think people like to take down the arrogant person, but they can respect the confident one. So it's a fine line.
You played on championship teams. What does great leadership actually look like inside the locker room?
Yeah, I think great leadership it has to happen every single day. Like it's less, to your point earlier, it's not being the loudest, it's not the pump up speeches. It's really just doing every single thing right at all times, which is really hard to do. Like doing the right things in the classroom, treating your teammates the right way, teachers the right way. Like it's an everyday choice that you have to make. And I think what I learned early on, that the older leaders on the team or organization, whatever it is, every single person is watching what you do on a daily basis. So if you do certain things, if you cut certain corners, everyone will follow. So it's like a burden in a sense, but it's the burden that you've kind of chosen.
Yeah.
And the best leaders I've seen were those people.
What advice would you give a young person who wants to be a leader?
It's earned. Like it's very, I think everyone some ways wants to be a leader. Some people are better than others, but it's something like you have to earn. If you go in there and try to be the leader from day one, it's earned by action, what you do on the field, what you do off the field. It takes time. I was a starting freshman on Duke. I was the least leader on the team, right? It doesn't really matter about like your performance, I think, more so than like how people view you, how you treat your teammates. It's just an everyday earned process.
But you were a captain at a young age. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was. I think I became a better captain as I got older, for sure. But yeah, I was a captain on every team. I think for me, like, I'm not a rah-rah person, and I'm not, giving the big pump-up speeches. Not me, but it's more just leading by example, doing the right things, try to be the hardest working, because I think it just permeates down to everyone.
Yep.
Because everyone's going to watch, and when you get to those positions, how you handle everything.
And would you have private side conversations with teammates that were underperforming, or how would you motivate them?
100%. I think it's like direct. You're doing your team a disservice if you're not telling people exactly how you feel. Certain people respond better than others in different ways. Some people want to be called out in front of people. Some people need private conversations. It's kind of your job to figure out what gets people going. But it's so important to have like a no stone unturned mentality where if you're trying to accomplish your goal, you don't, and you look back and say, I wish I had a conversation with that person about how they performed and how the team viewed him. Like, I just never wanted to have that. And I've had captains have tough conversations with me that might have hurt in the moment, and I maybe acted immaturely in the moment, but you look back 24 hours later, like, thank God that person said that.
Yeah. What qualities do teammates trust most?
I think honestly, like being yourself. It's just different. Everyone's so different and unique. I think just being extremely honest, hardworking, I think are the most important traits.
What does accountability mean to you?
Like I said earlier, I think it's just doing the right thing when it's the hard decision. Like, to be a champion or to be really successful in whatever you do, like, you have to make a choice to hold yourself to a very high standard with everything you do, in my view. I'm a big believer in karma. Like, you have to be the hardest working, treat people correctly off the field. You need to do things right with your family. Like, I think it's hard I think you have to just, in the hardest decisions, make sure you're holding yourself to a high standard and people around you as well.
Do you feel like, from how you were on the field to how you are in the boardroom, you see similar qualities like transferred over?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's all the same. It's like very basic life things, like being hardworking, treating people well, being transparent, having high values. It's like, making sure, in college, like, making sure you go to class when you don't want to. It's the same in work, where there might be days you're not exactly feeling like you want to, but you have to get up, get dressed, make sure you're being accountable to people around you. It's like, it could not be more parallel in everything.
So at ESF, we talk a lot about helping kids experience max joy. How would you define joy today for you?
Joy today for me is, it's a great question. My family is the joy. I have a young daughter, married. That helps keep me, all the pressures I put on myself, work-wise, life-wise, that definitely keeps me very grounded. But I think for kids, it's just doing what you love to do, being passionate about it because that's what you want to do, not any added pressures, not putting any goals on it. Like, I think it's just being free in what you want to pursue, and that's for sure max joy.
How has your definition of success changed since your playing days?
That's a great question. I think sports is so black and white with, you win and you lose. And there are certainly a lot of career paths where that could be the case. But for me, if I'm providing for my family, my wife likes me, my daughter's happy and healthy, my brothers around me, their families, like that's really what comes down to be, that's the most important thing for me. That's how I define success. Just the relationships around you, the good friends around you, people you care about. Like that's how I measure everything.
So if you could go back and speak to yourself as an ESF camper to Jordan at age 11, what would you tell?
To not put so much pressure on myself, and not have the stress of it all at a young age. I feel like it's all gonna work out. That's probably what I would do. That's more of a me thing, just my personality. But there's just no substitute playing sports with people you grew up with or your family grew up with. Like those are my best, most fond memories. So I wish I could tell myself to really enjoy it at the time, even though I was 10 years old. But there's nothing like your best friend you grew up with on your street, going to camp together, playing sports. There's just no substitute.
Yeah. I think Billie Jean King has a great quote, pressure is a privilege. But, for a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, they don't know that. It's more of the excitement or the worry. And so.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky, like going to Lower Merion, being able to have a position to start as a freshman, there's pros and cons to that. Like I didn't have to necessarily work my way to be a starter like at a Malvern or Haverford, but I did know day one, games on the line, balls in your stick, what that was like. And I think being able to experience that at a young age and have that kind of pressure in different sports as well, like helped me. Like I had a lot of reps, a lot of failures in that going into college, which made me used to moments like that, I guess, rather than like working your way to junior year and you're still trying to prove yourself, and it's just a different experience.
So we're going to do a lightning round. Favorite ESF memory?
Favorite ESF memory? I don't know if I have one specific memory. I just like it all. Like I remember the swim lessons. I remember the end of year day, like end of year awards. I remember soccer a ton.
For some reason, World League with the Wolf brothers, you guys were so into the World League.
Yeah, we loved it.
I mean, it was like, where are we going? What's our travel schedule? It was like a big deal.
Yeah, I love that.
Favorite ESF tradition?
I just think like I remember lunch for some reason. Like I remember everyone like so sweaty, smell of sunscreen, like getting ready, like kind of refueling for the big afternoon push. I remember that like vividly.
Favorite Duke moment?
Winning the national championship. Fortunate to do it twice. That's the whatever I did. I mean, I'm so far removed. It's the only thing. All the goals, records, all the cliches. It truly doesn't matter as much as just being a part of a special team. People you really care about. You had one goal, you accomplished it. It was the greatest.
Toughest opponent?
Lacrosse wise, Maryland over the years just got beat up. We lost to them in the Final Four my freshman and sophomore year by a lot. They were just really well coached, so tough. They were the kryptonite for sure.
One word teammates would best describe you?
Competitive. I hope a good teammate would probably be it.
One word your family would use?
As an athlete?
Or as a young man?
Passionate, I would say. Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice athletically, which I stated earlier, is you're getting better, you're getting worse. It just like, it always grounded me where if I don't do something on a certain day, I'm getting worse. Sometimes that something was just to recover and take care of yourself, but I just always thought of that in the back of my mind. And it helped me like be very accountable. And I think professionally, like leaving every social interaction in a positive light. Work stuff now, like I have talking to people now who said, hey, you were really nice to my son. He was 10 years old at your game at Duke. You signed autographs for him. You took some time out of your day. Like, well, he'll never forget that. Like, we would like to be helpful in any way. And even now, anyone you meet at a bar, at a restaurant, at an event, like the way you carry yourself is so important. People will remember that. So be cognizant of that. I think it's important.
What does MaxJoy mean to you?
MaxJoy, I guess just being at peace. Having great people around you, having, fulfillment in what you do on a daily basis, not having the stresses of every day overcome you. That's my max joy.
So Jordan, imagine a camper listening to this podcast who is 10 years old today. They're nervous about trying something new. They're unsure of themselves. They're wondering if they're capable of achieving big things. What would you want that camper to hear from you?
I think kids are capable of whatever they want, athletically, business-wise. Like, it's all about just being passionate what you want to do, pursuing it to the max degree. And if you come up short, there'll be a lot of good that comes out of it that'll help you in another way. So I think should be no stress. That's the beauty of being a kid.
Jordan, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for making the time.
I appreciate
it.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today's episode was brought to you by ESF Camps and Experiences in partnership with Nemours Children's Health. For more information, visit esfcamps.com/Nemours or click the link in the episode description. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep living Max Joy.